Let's do this.
Unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back to the Raw and Unscripted show with yours truly, Christopher Rausch, your place where I help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. It's why it's called Raw and Unscripted. And for those of you guys listening on the podcast, this is actually a video cast that we do live every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I realize that's 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but if you want to check out the video podcast, you can easily go to anything on my social media. You can obviously go to my website, noexcusescoach.com. You go to the media site, and there's the video cast if you want to see my beautiful face and you want to see my interaction with my guest. A lot of people kind of dig it. And I just appreciate you wherever you are at, whether you're watching us live, you're watching us on the replay, you're listening to us in any one of the 25 plus countries that we are in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have such a joy in doing this show every single week for you guys. It never gets old because all the people that we have on the show are so inspiring. And tonight is no different. Tonight is going to be an amazing conversation. So I highly encourage, I like to pen and paper, right? Pen and paper, because when you write stuff down, there's some sort of a psychological agreement that happens in your brain. I realize a lot of us type notes into our phone, but here's the thing that I want you to be most aware of. And I realize that a lot of people do this. I have done this. I have books I haven't read. I have courses that I have paid for that I have not done. It does not do us any good to be inspired to go, holy shit, that was such a great conversation. Then you go back to your regular life and you think that you're going to apply that one day. But here's what I got to tell you. I love sticky notes. I'm going to give you a tip right now. Sticky notes are incredible. Put a couple of words on those sticky notes that you take tonight. Take down 3 ideas, 3 suggestions from myself and my guest, and put them on your computer monitor. Every one of us has a computer monitor. Yes. Nod with me. You say, yes, Chris, we do. You put these sticky notes on there, and guess what? You make that a focal priority with yourself every day. I have sticky notes right here. I have another sticky note over here. I have another sticky note over here. I have a dry erase board with major things that I need to focus on so that it's always in my front center of mind that I'm applying something every single day. And I'm reminding myself, hey, Chris, are you practicing that? Are you being congruent with the things you said you were going to do and the things that you're going to be? That's what happens every day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not asking for major growth every single day. What I'm saying is that 1% every single day, when you apply that, you learn to, hey, you know what? Seek first to understand, then to be understood. And you apply that. Maybe you don't apply it 100% all the time, every single day. But when you apply it more and more and you say, you know what? It doesn't matter what I think. You know what? I'm going to shut up and listen because I have 2 ears and 1 mouth. I'm going to shut up and listen, and I'm going to ask questions to make sure that I understand what it is that's going on from this person. Most of the time, we want to get our point across. And I can't tell you how many times I have won relationships, won negotiations, whatever it might have been, because I said, you know, can you tell me more about that? And in my brain, I think, oh, I know what this person's going to say. But then they say something completely different. And I go, holy shit, Chris, you made an assumption that if you would have acted on that assumption, that person would have said, this fucking person doesn't even get me. So ladies and gentlemen, write the stuff down and apply it every single day, because when you apply that 1% rule, guess what? Over time, every day it starts to compound on itself, and you start realizing, hey man, I'm seeking first to understand. I'm getting better relationships. I'm starting to take better care of myself. I'm starting to see better results. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to do better. And you start to feel that, and it starts to become this positive cyclone of energy. And you can never go back to the way you were, because you realize when you take care of yourself and you take care of others and you live by your big why, it's pretty incredible what you can accomplish in 6 months to a year. It's not going to be easy, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be so, so worth it. And something I want to get across to you guys tonight is I want to share this with you. My book, It's Just You and Me, Kid. If you go to itsjustyoundmekid.com, itsjustyoundmekid.com. For people who are watching, you like to see it on the screen, there it is. That's my memoir about my life of being a 7th grade homeless dropout who lived in the backseat of a station wagon with 18 cats and 4 dogs and went through 4 years of hell. I tried to commit suicide twice. Unfortunately, I sucked at it. I had a gun put to my head. I got carjacked. I was on drugs and alcohol and gangs and all sorts of different things. But I'm sitting in front of you today, a master's degree person. I had a 30-year successful career in major C-suite organizations. I have launched my coaching and my speaking, and I'm writing this book, and I did that 20 years ago. I'm living my best life because I've applied the things that I've learned in my life, and I've surrounded myself with kick-ass people, and you can do it too. So if you go to itsjustyoundmekid.com, all you got to do is put your name and your email in there. When the book comes out, you're going to get first dibs on getting it. Plus, there's also a bunch of extras. So when you go to that website, you're going to see a bunch of extras that I'm throwing in for you, helping me make it a bestseller, because I promise you this book is going to change lives and it's going to become a movie. I already know this. I'm already putting it out there. So thank you in advance for supporting that. And now let's get on with our show. This individual I got an opportunity to meet, I think sometime last year. I mean, we're already booking into November and December of this year. And I believe I spoke to him in September last year, something like that. So time flies, but this individual has an amazing story. I want you to pay attention to his story, because in this story, there's going to be opportunities for yourself to say, wow, if he can do it, I can do it. And if Chris can do it, I can do it. And then when you start to do it, then you set the example for somebody else. If you have kids, right? I don't care if your kid is 6 years old or 60 years old, set the example, be the change that you want that individual to be, live it, lead by example, and embody it. And guess what? Your life will change, their life will change, and this world will become a better place. That's what it is. That's what it's about. And so please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Fico Martinez. What's going on, Mr. Fico?
Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for the great introduction, and it's an honor to be here. Just you mentioned it. We met last year. I don't even remember where it was. You were in the Mark Cox show.
That's right.
That day, I reached out to you because I love your story. I love your energy. And I said, well, I need to get to know Chris. And now that's when we actually booked that virtual coffee. So appreciate that.
No worries, man. I love meeting kick-ass people, and I love featuring them here on the show. And I know tonight's conversation is going to be amazing. And just to let everybody know, the title of the show tonight is Unleash Your Inner Warrior, Eliminating Your Excuses for Good. So my first question to you, Fico, is what do you want people listening and watching right now? What do you want them to walk away from this conversation knowing in their heart of hearts?
So I was just listening to a clip from Jeff Bezos. He said every day is day one. That day one mentality. So you can write off whatever you got going on right now. You can have day one anytime. Tomorrow is going to be day one. You can start over, and you can be a kick-ass person tomorrow, day one. Just right the wrongs. You cannot do anything what happened yesterday. You cannot do anything what's going to happen tomorrow. But tomorrow, day one, you got that mentality. Get going and get ready to rock and roll, because it's a new opportunity to do great things.
Love that. I totally love that. I was just telling somebody yesterday, as a matter of fact, it was an introductory coaching call that I do with people. And I told them this quote. I said, because they were talking about, being worried all the time. And I said, well, today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Was it worth it?
Oh, ooh.
Today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Was it worth it? I have to tell myself that sometimes, because I can get in my head a little bit. And I sit there and think, you know what, Chris, tomorrow is a brand new day. And one of my major quotes that I have tattooed on my arm is that what doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. And the other arm, it says, you're only limited by the parameters of your own mind. And so I was explaining to this individual, they were dealing with addiction issues. And I said, when I quit drinking, or I quit doing my pain pills, or I quit marijuana, or I've quit whatever in my life, I say that was yesterday's Chris. That was yesterday's. Today is a new Chris. Today is, like you said, that brand new time to start. So tell me, Fico, when did this epiphany come into your life where you realized that today is a brand new day?
We are raw and unscripted, right?
Oh, 100%.
So let me go back a little bit. Give me a little bit of a background of where I've been. So growing up, I was the third fattest kid in school. Wow. I was bullied, was not popular. I was picked on. And things were not going my way when I was that young, as a teenager. So it is going to be part of the story that I'm going to have in this book, Born to Risk. And it's an anthology coming up in later this year. Nice. But there's a little video clip, a backstory. There's a quick documentary on it, like a 3-minute documentary. And it shows my background story. So, you're a teenager, you like girls, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're supposed to. Yeah, there was a good-looking girl in the school, and I said, man, I'm going to take a risk. And I'm going to do a Valentine's Day card. I'm going to give her some chocolates and flowers and all that, and boom, I'm going to present her. I had zero chance, man. I didn't know what I was getting into. I gave it to her, and the response was, I don't like you. You're basically, you're fat and whatever. And back then I have a choice I have a choice to become the fattest kid in school, suck it up, cry, do nothing, or use that rejection and turn it into redemption. And what I did is just started a snowball effect of working out every day. I started running. You should have seen me how I started running back in the day. I just closed my eyes. I was so big. I was so fat. I'm telling you. I just closed my eyes and try to run to the next light pole, like 25 feet. And, you know, it kept going. It kept going. Kept going. 2 years, you know, took me to lose over 50 pounds. I was playing
50
basketball.
pounds. How old were you?
I was back then 13, 14 years.
Wow.
Playing basketball, running, you know, running bicycle. I got to high school, unrecognizable. Again, chubby guy, not popular, picked on, bullied. Just breezed through high school. And I even remember most of the days in high school. But I went to college and I did a walk-on to the cross-country team.
Wow.
In school, and I got a scholarship. So I got a scholarship for cross country, which is, you know, we ran 10Ks, 6.2 miles. I did that for a couple of years. Didn't seem to go my way in that first college, so I had to transition and then transfer to a different college. In that college, I had met a friend from the other college and said, "Hey, I know you were an athlete. You want to keep doing exercise in the morning?" Like, of course. So I show up. And it was the Army ROTC. That's how I was introduced to the Army ROTC back in 1998, August of 1998. And I got hooked on it, and I love it. I have family members that were in the military, but I never thought I was going to join the Army. I almost joined the Marines in 95, but almost doesn't count. But anyway, that's another story. But then in 1998, you know, I just started the Army ROTC. September 9, 1999, so 9/9/99. I signed my contract with the Army, and then I joined active duty in 2001, where I commissioned as a lieutenant, as a communications officer in the Army. Fast forward 20 plus year, I married my wonderful wife. I got 3 kids, retired December 2022, and now I'm here. So I turned a rejection into a redemption. So I said, I got to do something about it. And there's multiple and numerous examples throughout my career, but that was the first one that I can call the greatest risk that I ever took in the book, because it was the first really, you know, when you're a teenager, that stuff like that hits you hard.
Oh yeah, that I mean, it leaves a
rejection will paralyze you. You're done. You know, a lot of kids, especially nowadays, that could be very, very, very impactful for a kid. So
what do you mean by redemption? I want to make sure that people are listening. So rejection to redemption. What does that really mean?
Well,
is that revenge? Getting revenge on somebody?
No revenge. We're still friends with a person. It's like I redeemed myself. I proved myself that I didn't have to get stuck where I was. And I just said, like, dude, I gotta turn this negative into a positive, which I'm blessed that I did. You know, who knows if I didn't at 13, 14 years old, I'm proud of that Fico back then, because he took the initiative to do something about it. No one was telling me you need to do this. No one told me that.
Did you have people supporting you when you decided to make this transformation? Did your family support you?
It was on my own. You know, they just cheered. You know, they saw the changes, but there was no like, you know, you need to do this type of. It was on my own. I did it on my own. So, yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get back at right now, because I got lost after my transition from the military. That's another thing. I was medically discharged from the military. So I was retired medically because I have some complications that hit me hard. You know, it was extremely hard. The last 2 years of my military career, I went from a go-getter to all of a sudden accepting, like, oh my God, I'm going to the bench and I'm not coming back from the bench.
Mm-hmm.
How did you
handle that? Because that becomes a part of your identity, right? I've helped so many people go through, they've lost a job or lost a marriage or something like that, and they don't realize how much their identity is wrapped up into that. Talk to us about that journey, because that is super important. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, so it is one of the toughest periods of my life that hit me so freaking hard, because I was not planning to retire. I want to be a lifer and continue to move up the ranks.
And you were a lieutenant colonel when you left, right? Oh,
Right.
wow.
And as an officer, you have to be present. You got to be in the job to advance. The higher you go, the more present you have to be, the more you have to perform. But what happened to me, I'm gonna put it out there, is my own thing. I had my second blood clot in my right leg.
Whoa.
So that triggers blood thinners. My leg was all messed up. It was swollen. I couldn't wear even boots or whatever. And when you get a second one, you are in blood thinners for life, supposedly. And it's just you're non-deployable. You cannot go to combat because you can bleed out if you get shot, things like that. So that started a process of separation from the military, which was one unexpected. And that was so hard. And what got me out
what was the hardest part of that? If we can go deeper on that.
It is like trying to accept that it was over.
Yeah.
It's like, I gotta move on. It was like, all of a sudden you gotta do something else now. Now you're starting a new chapter.
Yep.
From scratch. You gotta find out quickly what you're gonna do. And what got me going a little bit after months was my kids. They are wrestlers, right? So my kids, I started attending, be more present into their events and sports events. And then I got a little more closer with the other kids, trying to inspire them and give them advice or encourage them during wrestling. Wrestling is a humbling sport. So you get all these kids trying to do better, and then all of a sudden, you get beat and you get your ass whooped. Some of them celebrating, whatever. I just was there and taking pictures, capturing moments, and the parents started noticing, some of the parents, and say, "Oh, thank you for what you're doing for the kids." That's what I was doing with my soldiers, and I can do this also for the kids. And that just got me going. And then I started going back to church, and I went back to church, and that what gave me more strength to move on and try to, continue to move forward. It's all about moving forward, not trying to get stuck. So that's how I was able to start moving in the right path.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I want to capture what we got. We got Happy Alfred 2 in the house saying hi. So welcome, and appreciate you being here on the show. Got Nancy Nance in the house. Guys, got to follow Nancy. She is Exponential Joy. She said rejection to redemption. Wow. Thank you. She said master. And also she says, wow, I so needed to hear this. So thank you, Nancy, for being here. And thank you for commenting. You guys feel free to ask us any questions as we're going through the show. I want to share something with you. Actually, Nancy's in my group coaching program. Awesome. And last night we were talking about rejection. I said, rejection is the key to redirection. Right.
Oh,
so we think about
nice.
that. So when you said rejection to redemption, I'm like, holy shit. I said, last night we were just talking about, last night. Today has been such a crazy day. Rejection to redirection. Right. So when we think about, oh man, I'm so pissed off. So many times we're looking, you could have sat there and slumped over in your chair at home and went, wow, man, it sucks. I was that person. Like, we hear the traditional high school football player that talks about being a quarterback. Like, that's who I was supposed to be. And they spend their whole entire life, just being miserable about that not happening. But you sat there and said, okay, listen, again, taking responsibility. I want to make sure people are listening to this. The R word. So many people have problems with the F word. I don't give a shit about the fuck word. I care about the responsibility word, because at 13 years old, and again, as a lieutenant colonel, being told that you're basically not welcome here anymore, that identity, you took that responsibility once again to say, okay, listen, what can I do? And the biggest thing that you identified, I want to make sure people are capturing here, is the fact that you had a big enough why. That's what people need. When you have a big enough why, I was just explaining this last night, you have a big enough how. And so the thing I always key on to people, and this, I'm going to give this free coaching advice right now, is everybody should write their eulogy. Write your eulogy. And I know people sit there and go, oh my God, I want to think about dying. You're all going to fucking die. I'm going to die. You're going to die. Everybody's going to die. It's how we live right now. And so many people are existing right now. They're existing and they're playing the someday game. Oh, someday when I have money, or someday when I have time, or someday when the kids are out, someday when my husband's not being an asshole, then I'll be happy. And so what Fico and I are saying tonight is take that responsibility, have a big enough why, write your eulogy and say, okay, how do I want to be remembered? And for me, Fico, I was sitting at a funeral back in 2008. I've had a pretty big why all my life, usually to prove myself. Like, I want to prove myself. I want to make money. And when I have money, then I'll be happy and I'll da. And I sat at this funeral and I watched these people getting up and eulogizing my coworker. And I thought to myself, God, what a beautiful person she was. I didn't know all the good things that she did in this world. I mean, she was one of my coworkers, but I knew her, but I didn't know her. And I thought, okay, if I died tomorrow, who would show up and what would they say? And God's honest truth, Fico, I figured 10 or 15 people would show up. They'd bring cases of Miller Genuine Draft and Jack Daniels and Motley Crue records and Bon Jovi records. And they would talk about all the stupid shit I did. Oh my God, remember that time Chris passed out? Remember that time this? Remember that time that? Oh yeah, he was a 7th grade dropout who changed the world. And I figured that was going to be the postscript on my funeral, that people would sit there and talk about, oh yeah, oh wait a minute, that's right, he wrote a book that changed the world. Period, end of story, hard stop. And I went home and I was driving home and I was bugging me. And so when I got home, I sat there and I was looking down at my paper. I swear to God, I remember this. And I started writing out my eulogy. And I got done with it. I went and got a glass of water. I came back and I literally pushed it to the side and I said, oh, I'm on to the next thing. I'm on to the next thing. And I stopped and I said, no, Chris, there was like this whisper in my head. And I teach people, listen to that whisper. Listen to that word that says, don't turn right here. That little whisper. I believe that's our soul speaking to us. I believe that's our spirit guide speaking to us. And I picked it up and I started reading it. And then I said, wait, if it's at a funeral, I'm going to read it out loud. And so I held the paper in front of me and I said, we're gathered here today to honor the life of Christopher Rausch, blah, 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 blah. And then as I got to the middle part, I only wrote one page. As I got to the middle part, I said, Christopher will have fought for what's right and what's fair. He will have risked for which that mattered. You said the risk word, so I love that. He will have risked for which that mattered. And he will have left the earth a better place for who he was and what he did. And God's honest truth, I started crying. Not boo-hooing, but I just started having tears. I got choked up and I was like, why am I crying? And I'm like, oh, wow. When I live that legacy, when I create that legacy every single day, I'm going to inspire more people than I've ever inspired before. I'm going to have a big enough why that so when I'm feeling down and I'm having a pity party for myself, I can say, Chris, is this going to lead to your legacy? No. Okay. What can you do to redirect right now? What can you do? How can you say or do something that's going to make somebody, have a better day? How are you going to do something that you're going to fight for what's right and what's fair? And every single time, dude, it's put me back in the game and then some. So I thank you for sharing that. Going to risk. What are a couple of things that people can do to overcome the fear of failure? Because so many times we're afraid of failing. So we stay in our comfort zone and we stay that comfortably miserable and we don't do anything. So what's your advice to people to get out of that fear of failure?
You just have to keep going. It's part of us. It's part of your journey. You cannot write off success without failure. So, and I'm going through it right now. So I just gave you a snapshot of what happened when I just before I got out. So that little bit of a snapshot that happened there when I got the blood clot, and then oh my God, I'm out. I got depressed. Been through a bunch of other issues. That period stopped when I retired, December 2022. Then I went nuts after I got out of the military. I was like, let me venture to this civilian sector. I was not ready for this. Yeah. I was not ready. This is new territories. I signed up for every training that you can find. I signed up for every coach that you can find. I signed up, just made bad moves. That I'm trying. That's what I started like, man, day one. Every day is a chance to write a new story. I'm in a journey right now, and you guys are going to be witness of my third round. This is going to be my third round, number 3, or the final round, whatever.
You got a lot of more rounds, bro. You got a lot more rounds.
Yeah, it's the risk. I took a risk. I wanted to do something because my thing is like when people retire, they think like, oh, I'm just going to stop working, going home, laying on the couch and get fat. No, that's where you have the most value. For other people. People need to listen to your story. People need to listen to you. Yeah. Right now, there's someone's going to listen to this podcast today, tomorrow, 5 years from now, and they're going to say, wow, it's going to be like, ooh, light bulb. This is going to live forever. We're going to make an impact. We know that. This is so amazing.
Yeah, baby.
People need to hear other people. And one of the things that let me tell you something that for those that are listening, God always look for powerless people to do powerful things.
Yeah.
So if
Ooh,
you
love
think
that.
you're powerless, you have nothing going, you're wrong. Everyone has something. Everyone can help anyone out there,
Yep.
believe it or not. But going back to that risk, I'm telling you, it's you got to do it. What is the alternative?
Mhm.
What is the alternative? Regret? So
Complacency, mediocrity. That's
yeah,
what I tell people. I tell people all the time, when did it become acceptable to be mediocre? When did it become acceptable to be lazy? When did it become acceptable to self-sabotage myself? You ask yourself the right questions, ladies and gentlemen. You start to switch what the fuck you're doing. And guess what? Your actions start switching. And then your people start switching and your results start switching. So I love that you talk about that. I tell people to fail their way to success. And oftentimes I get the, huh? I'm like, yeah, you know how many times I've failed? You know how many mistakes I've made in my life? You know how many times I've stuck my foot in my mouth? Do you know how many times blah, 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 blah? And I'm still fucking going. That's why I teach people to be unstoppable. It's like, be unstoppable, fail your way to success.
Fail forward.
How do you handle people in your life who try to drag you down? Because we all have those people in our life who see us starting to succeed and start to see it. Who are you, Fico, to write a book? Who are you, Fico, to be a coach? Who are you, Fico, to be on a podcast? How do you deal with those people? And what advice do you have for people listening to that?
White noise. You just have to block that off. It is all the things that we're saying here. They're simple but difficult when you are not in the right mindset.
Oh yeah,
they are very tough because we're gonna be doing things that is on subconsciously are gonna drag us to a different way. They're gonna pull a different way, and you don't want that. You gotta stop and recognize. Like, ask yourself, look inside of you. What is this telling me? What is doing for me? What is this person trying to do? Is this person gonna have an impact? No, you gotta be in control. You gotta be in control of yourself. That's the only thing you can control. Forget about people. Just do it. The people are gonna laugh at you. It doesn't matter. You're not gonna please everyone. You're not gonna satisfy 100% of people. There's always gonna be haters. There's always gonna be doubters. Whatever. The only one that you are responsible for is for yourself, and that's what matters first. And that's my turnaround point right now. It's just realizing that I need to get that fire back that I had when I was in my prime days, right?
Right.
How
are you doing it? How do you start your day? Talk to us about that.
Every day I get up at 4 a.m. I work out, regardless of how I feel. I just kick myself out of the freaking bed. I work out. Not like I used to, but you got to get something out, and that's a win. So you look at it as a win. You get up, you put your foot down, you didn't snooze the alarm. That's what I keep saying in my videos. Alarm means go. Alarm means go, not snooze.
Yep.
Alarm means go. If you get that mentality, you just won one thing. You put your foot down, you get up, you go to the bathroom, do your thing, and then you just get ready. You're just mentally ready to. You got to get a workout. It sucks. You suck. Whatever. It hurts. It doesn't matter. Just get up and do it.
Because on the other side of it, you feel great. You sit there and say, man, I didn't want to do that. I went to the gym yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I was not feeling it. I got 4 hours of sleep. And I said, Chris, just go to the gym for 20 minutes. Yeah. Just go to the gym for 20 minutes. I went to the gym. I decided in my head initially, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to push myself today. And then as I was doing my bench press, I said, you know what? This is pretty easy. I said I wasn't going to push myself today, but what if I push myself? How am I going to feel in 20 minutes when I walk out of here? So I went 20 pounds heavier, and I was like, that isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, I haven't been doing 150 in a while because I had fucked up my shoulder, but I did it. And I was like, not only did I not want to come to the gym, but now I feel proud of myself for doing that. So I love that you say that, because when I tell people they got to take care of their 5, hydration, nutrition, sleep, vitamin D, and hydration, nutrition, vitamin D. Oh, and sleep. I monitor my sleep with an Oura ring. I don't have it on right now. So when you do that and you start your day, it's pretty incredible. I want to capture what Nancy said right here, because it's super important when we're talking about, what somebody told me one time, everybody else's opinions of you don't matter, or something like that. But I teach my coaching clients Teflon. Like when somebody says something, like, so many times we take it personal and we allow people to push our buttons. We were just talking about it last night. I'm like, why do you allow that person to push your buttons? Why do you have buttons to push? And I said, so when people are sitting there saying stuff and they're like, oh, let me give you my opinion, and here's my 2 cents. Don't take any fucking advice from somebody who is not doing what you want to do. I don't care if it's your mom. I don't care if it's your dad, blah, 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 blah. Teflon. Ooh, and I sit there now. For me, I'm a visual person. I see the words coming and I just see them sliding off. It's like, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. I think it's pretty fucking hysterical. You must be fun at parties. And I sit there and I keep doing what I do. And to my point, and I'm going to ask you this question. In my life, people say, well, it's my family. And I tell them the 5 people you're around the most, must be the people that have your back, that tell you, you know what, Fico, go for it, dude. Change what it is you're doing. Go out there and be a speaker. Go out there and be a coach. You need those 5 people. And the rest of the people you need to wish well, because as we are constantly leveling up, and I just went and talked to somebody about this. He said, you're outgrowing some people in your life. And so in those situations, it's hard, but you have to wish those people well. I had to wish my sister well back in 2005. And I said, you're a very toxic person. I wish you all the best. Please don't ever contact me again. And people ask me on interviews, they say, do you ever regret that? I'm like, no, she was a very toxic person. And I had barely a relationship with her. And so when I wished her well, that set off a cycle of events where I said, you know what? I'm allowed to be choosy. I'm allowed to have the best people in my life. It's not being selfish. It's not being arrogant. It's not being anything. It's having the right people on your team. How important is that to you to have the right people on your team?
Oh, it's everything. It's the main difference. Okay. Like I was saying that I am beginning a new chapter after the trial and turbulence, right? And one of the biggest thing I did that put me in the position that I left my support group. I thought that I was by myself. I was running 100 miles per hour blindfolded. I couldn't see it. People were seeing things and I was not listening. And the biggest mistake was to be away from those individuals that really care about me. You know, that's your wife, your kids, you know, friends out there. They say they got your back. And when they say they got your back, they really mean it. It's not like can I do anything for you? Let me know if you need anything. And it's just like a blanket statement. No, this is really, let me know if you need anything type of individuals, which are not that many out there.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think this is a good way to play the video. There's a video that I would like to show you. It's a short video.
Go for it.
That basically put in perspective my new journey. So I would like to share that. Let me see if we can do that real quick.
Go for it. Love it.
All right. Let me see.
While you're doing that, I just want to key up that we got Ton in the house. I hope I pronounced your name right. Ton Fountain says, Fico, you will forever be a go-getter to me. Definitely the most outstanding and supportive leader that I served for. That is quite a compliment. And I love that says, live for the dash. Your birth date and the date of your death should not define you. Before you key up that, I want to tell a little story. If people have not seen this, you got to go see the poem. It's called The Dash. I quoted that poem because I just want to warn everybody. I quoted that poem in a blog on my website years and years and years ago. And I quoted the source and I said, hey, by the way, here's the website. I got a cease and desist. I got a letter from an attorney that said, we're going to sue you for $3,000. You have to pay us $3,000 and we're going to sue you. So do not ever repost that poem, because these people came after me. And I talked to an attorney and he says, just ignore it. They can't do anything. You cited it. I took it down from my website, but I saw that whenever somebody talks about the dash, I just sit there and I say, in case they know that, don't reshare that, because those motherfuckers come after you and they try to get money out of you. So I appreciate the poem, but no. But yeah, absolutely. The dash is your life. So please, by all means.
No problem. Let me see how I can just press play here. Let's see.
Oh, here we go.
You got it?
Let's see. Yep. Did you share the audio? Hopefully.
Yeah.
Life is like a chess match. Every decision has consequences, and the truth can sometimes be harsh. What is this moment teaching me? What do you see? You only see what I choose to reveal. Now that we have built a relationship, you can see some of the burdens I carry. Oh, it's a heavy burden. Can't you see? Look closer, just a little closer. There's more weight that you can't see behind my back. Wow, it's so heavy. It's not just about the victories. It's about the lessons learned from the defeats. It's all right to pause, to take a moment to breathe. And it's perfectly fine to seek assistance. It's a time for introspection. A time to grow from my past missteps. What do you do when there's nowhere to turn? You move straight ahead. You keep moving forward. I feel stronger, and I recognize that I'm not alone. The climb to the top is easier with your team on your side. They have my back. They can take some of that weight from me. And the script we create together has the power to inspire and motivate many. It's time to rise. Time to get back on the saddle. It's the last round, and I have a puncher's chance. Get up and go. Let's go.
Dude, bravo. Fucking I'm jacked for that. I am jacked for that.
That's
Thank you
good.
for sharing that. Is that the end of it?
Yeah, that's the end.
Cool. Dude, thank you for sharing that. That's so inspiring. What brought you to create that?
So again, exercise routine is what gives me ideas, and I've been doing this ever since I started running back when I was 13 years old. It's like it's the oxygen that comes to your brain and all this stuff that triggers it, gives you ideas, and it's my happy place, right? When I told you I was a runner. Now I cannot run that much. I run slower, but it brings ideas. And I was wearing my weight vest the other day, and I was looking at it's more into that. It's going to become a speaking gig eventually, but the weight vest represents all the weight that you're carrying it, and on top, and I'm going to put like a jacket on it. You see the little weights, those represent issues. And the one in the back that I refer is that you have weight also in the back. So you're not letting people know. People see so much. They need to get closer and deep into your relationship to know that there's more into it. That people are not just going to tell you, I'm an open book. Here you go. And there's a lot of stuff, a lot of problems. So I was looking at my weight best and how I can relate this and all the things that are going on with me, that all the missteps. And I decided to write that based on an event that I went, that I met great people that are giving me advice, and they're just motivating me. A couple of friends that are continue to push and motivating me, and my wife also, my kids. So just put all together. Let me write this minute and 17-second video, and let's see how it goes. I will release it tomorrow morning.
Tag me in it when you do. I want to share it out.
You got the first cut today. That's the sneak peek.
That's awesome. Tag me in it when you do, because I want to share it in my Raw and Unscripted group as well.
Thank you.
Something's just popped into my brain right now when we're thinking about this conversation. I've dealt with this, and I know a lot of people are dealing with this right now. It's a topic of conversation where people are coming to me for coaching. Have you ever dealt with feeling like an imposter? Like whether you went in the military or when imposter syndrome seems to be a big thing. And it's surprising because I find that people are really successful. They come to me and like, Chris, I still feel like I don't deserve it. I still feel like I'm not that guy. I still feel like people are going to say, who in the fuck are you to be this person? And people are surprised when I sit there and say, oh, I've been there. I've been there. I felt like that imposter. Part of it was because I was being somebody I wasn't, but I was successful at it when I was a suit and tie speaker. I came off stage one time and I just realized I'm not a suit and tie speaker. I'm not this guy that does the little hand pose and goes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about inspiration today. Yeah. Are you guys want to be inspired? Give your hands up. I was just like, I came off and I'm like, fuck, I feel like dirt. I'm successful at it. I worked with Les Brown. Les Brown said I could put you on stages, but I can't do the bandana and I can't do the swearing. And I said, I love you, Les, but I got to be me. And that's when I stopped being an imposter, because I was successful. I was validated. My ego felt great. But inside, in my heart of hearts, I was empty. Have you ever felt like that? And if you have, what was that journey like?
Oh, we all do. We all do. It's the little voice that talks in your head, right? That tells you, do X, Y, Z. You don't belong here. I'm a Hispanic, and not to just put it out there, but minority. My English was not that great when I started. It was decent. Just another thing. I taught myself how to speak English listening to rock music from the 80s. Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Poison.
Oh, that's my jams right there, dude.
Yeah, I tell you, all those 80s songs. I used to replay it back, like, okay, cool. And that's how I taught myself to a little bit to get proficient in English, right? But just imagine this. Imagine just a 22-year-old officer. Here comes an individual that wants you to fail just because he didn't like me or whatever, and it was supposed to be my right-hand person, puts me in front of a platoon with no warning or say, hey, sir, come over here. And he just wanted to push me, and like, holy crap, what do you want me to do? The first time you're exposed to 40, 50 soldiers, and you're telling me what, introduce yourself or whatever. So yeah, you started a little rough, but you learn. you just learn. You got that voice in your head, like, man, you cannot this cannot happen again. This cannot happen again. You got to be ready, and that's what I'm trying to get back at. I am good enough. People need to hear my story. You
I'm
got to
fucking
change.
awesome. That's what you say. I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Or if you don't swear, you say friggin'. But that's what I tell people. Like, just stand in the mirror and just tell yourself, like, hey, you're the fucking man. You're the woman. You're the shit right now. You're getting there. You're every single day and every single way. You're not going to try. You're going to do it. And just have that conversation with yourself in the mirror.
Yeah. So look, today it was odd. I normally try to dress up and whatever. I wore this shirt and I'm looking at the shirt. It says "Better Days." Well, whatever it is, "Better Days." What
Love
is
it?
Relax more. All of a sudden, I was just walking around the house. I'm just gonna wear that because that's how I feel, and that's my theme. Better days are coming. You will be blessed. Just stay on track. Believe in yourself. Rely on your support group, and things are gonna go. They're gonna move forward. So.
I love that. I titled the show with excuses in it, and I'm the no excuses coach. So I'm interested to hear your perspective. What do you do given the fact, and I've had this challenge in my life before, not a problem, but a challenge, because I like to look at things as challenges, not problems. Problems are opportunities. But when I've thought about my excuses, I don't have enough time. I don't know what to do. I don't know who the people to call. When you hear people coming up with excuses, given the fact that you've taken responsibility for your life, and that's really what it's about, what do you say to people when they said, "Oh, Fico, but I've got so much going on," or "Oh, I'm not like you," or "I don't have that genes to be skinny"? What do you say to people when they come up with excuses? Because it must get under your skin. Because I know for me, that's why I became the no excuses coach. Because I was like, your fucking excuses are if you're gonna keep telling yourself that's exactly going to be your outcome. What do you say to people who sit there and say that? But I don't know how. I don't have time. I don't have money.
I understand. We got excuses, but excuses are not gonna get you to where you want to go. You gotta have that in your mind, right? Excuses we all come up with excuses, right? Which is a sign of prioritization. You gotta prioritize the things that matter. So you can't have 20 things because you're not gonna get everything accomplished. But what are the things that you really need to do? What are the things that you can do now to give you a win, to give you that momentum? So you just have to prioritize your thing. What's the best bang for the buck that's going to do, there's the 20-80 rule. You know that, the 20-80 rule. So you do the 20% to take care of the 80. So yeah, prioritize and just recognize that if we keep leaving in excuses, we're not going to get to where we want to get. And then we're going to look back and say, holy crap, I just wasted my time.
What do you think people should prioritize first? Because so many times I hear, my kids are first, or my husband's first, or I got to do this and I got to do this. What should people be prioritizing first in their life in order to be successful, in order to find those results through that imperfect action?
So everyone has their own book. Everyone is unique, right? So it is tough to pinpoint one thing, but let's say if you want to be, you're working from home now. A lot of people working remote, for instance. Block your time like you're working outside in the office, and just make sure that there are boundaries. So there are boundaries, and people respect your time. So if you want to take care of business, make sure that you're set up boundaries. For me, it's a faith, family, fitness, and finances that I put my 4F that I take care of. Okay, so everyone's going to have a different thing, and it comes down to the one-on-one. Okay, what it really matters to you. Let's dig deep. And if you want to get to a different point that you don't want, you're not there. There's going to be some sacrifices. There's no balance. People think they're balanced. Unfortunately, there's no balance.
Nope.
You got to be unbalanced to achieve something that you have not achieved. But at the same time, you got to be very self-aware that you're not neglecting other things. So yeah, you got to have that rude awakening and rely on individuals and see what really matters to you. I
tell people, and I love that. I tell people you got to prioritize yourself. So many times people sit there and you find yourself catching yourself. I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do this and I have to do this. I tell people to rephrase that, to sit there and say, do I really have to? Like I was helping somebody recently. She became a coaching client, and one of her biggest excuses was like, well, I have to do the laundry. Well, her biggest excuse was I don't have time. Well, first and I'm like, no, you don't have resources. That's the big thing. You're not making resources in your life. I said, talk to me about your lifestyle. Talk to me about your day. So well, I get up and I have to make the lunches, and I get up and I have to clean the kitchen. I have to do the laundry, and I have to do da. And I said, no wonder you're overwhelmed. I said, I said, how old are your kids? Oh, they're 9, 13, and 17. And I said, okay. I said, is it plausible that your kids can make their own lunch and do their own laundry? Oh my God, Chris, no, that's asking too much and blah, 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 blah. And I said, how committed to that answer are you? I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, because I like to do scale of 1 to 10. You can never pick 7, by the way, because most people will pick 7 to sound like they're almost there, but they're not. Yeah. So I tell people you can't pick 7, so they either have to pick 6 or 8. Most of the time they pick 6 or 5. And I said, okay, how committed to that answer you are? I'm like, oh yeah, it's pretty certain in my house. And I said, okay, that proverbial buzz we all talk about, it's going to smack the shit out of you tomorrow and you're going to be gone. Is your family not going to have clean clothes and not have lunches? Be honest. Are they going to figure it out how to have lunches and get clean clothes without you there? Yes or no? Well, yeah, I guess so. And I said, so what is it going to take for you to inspire them to do that now for you? I said, have you ever asked them, hey guys, I need your help. I need your help. Mom needs to start investing in herself. I know mom hasn't been here and present because I'm overwhelmed with all these things. I need everybody's help. Can I count on you guys for some help? How about this? Can you guys make lunches, on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Can you guys sort your laundry and bring it down to the washing machine? I'll do it and I'll put it back by the stairs and you guys could put it away. Can we all do that? And so she was like, oh my God, Chris, you're asking too much. And I said, no, I'm not. I said, I promise you. I said, most people do that and they find that the people say, oh my God, if you would have asked sooner, I would have done it. And so I inspired her to go do it. And she went and did it. That was her exercise for the week. And she came back and she's like, oh my God, Chris. They were like, yeah, Mom, we were surprised you didn't ask before. And I said, how long have you been dealing with this? How long did you have that closed-minded attitude about yourself that you had to do these things? She goes, for a while. And I said, how does it feel to let that go? She goes, oh, it feels amazing. And I said, right. When you prioritize yourself and you make known your requests, so many people are sitting in that quiet misery, hoping, wishing, and praying. Well, they should know. They should see me struggling. No, they're going to sit there and say, well, mom likes to do it. Mom feels like a mom to do that. I said, can you understand that? You're assuming what it is going on. And so just by the fact that she's changed that, her energy when I see her is lit up because now she's not tolerating that anymore. And so many times we're tolerating stuff. So when you're thinking about your life and where you've been in your journey, what are some questions that you like to ask yourself or you like to ask people? Because I believe people sit there and they sit there and say, well, Chris, what are you going to tell me to do? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you to do anything. I may give you suggestions on exercises that you can do. I said, but I'm going to ask you questions in such a way like, when did it become acceptable to be mediocre? When did it become acceptable to be addicted to Netflix? When did it become acceptable? Well, it's never acceptable. Okay. So what are some questions that you like to ask yourself or you like to ask people?
There's 168 hours in a week. There's a book called 168, right? Yep. Hours in a week. And you start logging and log yourself for a week and find out where your time is going. Mm-hmm. Okay. You gotta know that. You gotta know that. You gotta journal at least a week of your time. And then you're gonna say, like, damn, where am I wasting my time? Are you the one scrolling through social media countlessly for hours? There's screen time in phones. You can track that too.
Oh yeah.
So there are ways of monitoring where you're spending your time. You got to make money. You got to dedicate your time in money-making activities. So if it's not, or activities that are going to get you to where you want to get, that's your main focus. So if doing the laundry is taking away 1 hour of your time, that's one less hour that you're going to be 1 hour behind of getting to your next client or getting to, talk to a business owner or whatever. It's little tweaks. It's not hard, but we have this belief system. Yep. We believe that we got to take care of everything. And those are things that I personally struggled in the past. Yeah. I got to take care of everyone. A couple of weeks ago, I talked to an individual, and I ended up buying his book, Mr. Shidaf, and I told him a little bit of my background and why am I doing things, and he said, "Read this." And I was telling him about why I need to take care of relatives. I got all these people that I cannot fail, and I'm doing this and I'm doing this for that. And I said, really? You don't need to do that. You just have to take care of yourself first, and you put that there, in you just created that reality. That's not the real thing. It's just created something that is just not needed. This person, like you mentioned, they're gonna move on. They're gonna figure it out. They're gonna be fine. So yeah.
I love that. Dude, this has been such a fire conversation. We've already been going for nearly an hour. I try to keep the show under an hour because I know people are super busy, but I just want to capture. We got my friend Robert in the house. He says, hi, Christopher and Federico. We got Steve Gapes in the house. Thank you, Steve, for stopping by. He says, hey, Christopher, hope you are well, my friend. I'm awesome and kicking ass, man. I thank you for being here and sharing this out. He says, we all deserve an abundance of love, respect, and positive vibes. 100%. It's all about the smiles, right? We got to make the smiles. So, ladies and gentlemen, where can people get a hold of you, dude? Because I think it's so important for people to continue the conversation with you. They saw your video; it's so inspiring. Where can people connect with you?
So the best way is if you go to my social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is at Federico Martinez. You can find information there. My Instagram has my business card. You can get it from there too. And just follow me on Facebook and social media. I'm also on LinkedIn. It's the same thing at Federico Martinez without the dot between after the II. So yeah. Can I say something? Just one more thing, just for
100%. Go for it.
Else. So for people out there, the things that you think disqualify you for doing something are the things that will make the actual difference on someone else's life. You think you're disqualified for I cannot do that. Well, that's probably what really, really qualifies you to do and help someone else. Yeah.
Have a big enough why, you have a big enough how, baby. That is so, so important. Federico, I so appreciate you for being on here, for taking the time and for sharing this wisdom. It's been an unforgettable conversation. And I know if people came in the halfway point of this conversation, go back and listen to the start of this conversation, because it's definitely fire. And there are so many gems in what we all said. And I appreciate that, because I think I don't even think the rejection to redemption, right? And taking that responsibility. It's been an honor to have this conversation with you. And by the way, thank you for all of your service to defend and protect our country. I truly appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I never served in the military, but I have so much respect for my brothers and sisters who do and go put themselves in harm's way. So thank you for protecting our freedoms. I'm going to place you backstage for a second. Don't go anywhere, because I still want to have a little conversation with you, but I'm going to close out the show.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, my brother. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Robert says here, thank you both. Thank you both. So here's the thing, that R word, responsibility. Are you taking responsibility in your life? Are you accepting and realizing that you are responsible for your choices and your decisions? So many people think they're a victim to their situations. They allow other people to have that force in their life. They allow people to push their buttons. What would life feel like if what Federico talked about, if you had boundaries? I love that. We could do a whole show on boundaries. Do you have boundaries in your life? What are they? Have you written them out? More importantly, have you discussed those boundaries with people in your life? Hey, friends, guys, listen, I have to have boundaries with my friends, because, hey, Chris, can I ask you a question? Of course, my friends can ask me questions, but I get so many people, hey, Chris, can I pick your brain? No, I actually spent 25 years of my life investing in coaches and masterminds and all these different things to become the great coach that I am. I have to get compensated for that. I have a boundary now. I did not have a boundary for that. And guess what? I was constantly giving people free advice, and they weren't showing up, and they weren't joining the group coaching programs and all the different things I was offering, because I was giving away things for free. And yes, it was tough for me to have that boundary, but you need to have that boundary with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers. You have to have those boundaries with yourself to say, you know what, Chris, I'm not going to tolerate that excuse anymore, because I've always done it that way. I'm not going to tolerate the excuse, oh, I'm too old to change. No, I'm not going to tolerate that. That's another thing, is what is if you're tolerating in your life? Tolerating from yourself, tolerating from others, and tolerating from inanimate objects. This is an exercise I give my coaching clients. I'm giving you guys a ton of information tonight. Write it down. What am I tolerating from other people? And then work on that and say, what would my life feel like if I no longer tolerated a third of those things? What would my life feel like if I took the biggest toleration right now that's bugging me, that's causing me to focus my attention in negative areas? What would it feel like? What would it feel like to take all the burdens and all the excuses and all the frustration and all the anger that I carry around and almost wear it as a badge of honor? Oh, Chris, you don't know how terrible my life was. Well, tell me how terrible your life was. You get to do it once. And then how about the fucking moving on? How about taking responsibility? Like Fico said, what would it feel like if we just let that go and said, you know what? That's yesterday's Chris. That's yesterday's Yvette. That's yesterday's Tom. That's yesterday's Steve. That's yesterday's whoever. Today, I'm going to choose to prioritize myself. I'm going to choose to go out there and get some exercise. I'm going to get some sun. That was the other thing. Vitamin D. So hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. I found out that I had a vitamin D deficiency. Even though I get sunshine every single day, guess what? I take vitamin D and I feel much better. Go out there and get your vitamin profile done. Go out there and get blood tests. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Do not put it off, because I see so many people that are my age. I'm 55. Thank you very much. I know I look great. I work at it. I see so many people that are on medications, and they get on medications, then they have to get on another medication. Then that medication makes them tired. Then that medication makes them like pissed off. And then they're going to their short-term gratifications, ignoring life. Stop tolerating that shit from yourself. Get up off the couch. Go out there for a 10-minute walk every single day. Get some sunshine in your face. Get some deep breathing going. Journal. Spend 15 minutes listening to some inspiring content. And just choose to sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to prioritize myself today. I'm no longer going to tolerate the bullshit in my life. I'm going to start asking myself better questions. I'm going to start journaling. I'm going to start taking imperfect action. And I'm going to take that rejection and turn it into redemption, right? I love that. And here's one last thing I'll leave you with, right? The one thing. What's the one thing I can do today that by doing so will help me get a little bit further down the road? What's the one thing? Like Fico said, can I start using my calendar and booking my time out? Hey, laundry from 2:30 to 3, make the lunches, talk to put all that in your calendar. And then and make sure you put time in there for yourself. Hey, you know what? I'm going to allow myself this opportunity to watch one Netflix show, not an entire fucking season in one sitting, but hey, I'm going to allow this. I'm going to allow myself to play video games. I'm going to reward myself because I prioritized myself and I took the action. I took that imperfect action. I promise you, you take that imperfect action every single day. You start asking yourself better questions. You surround yourself with the right people. You stop tolerating the bullshit. You get wise about your excuses, and you realize that you're supposed to be living today, not existing today. Your life will be massively different in 6 months. Your life will be massively different in 1 year. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be easy. But guess what, guys? It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. And like Steve says right here, you are the driver of your life. Take control of the wheel, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live on the video cast. And of course, you can get the podcast anywhere podcasts are sold, Spotify, iHeart, Apple, whatever it is. Just type in Raw and Unscripted, type in my name, Christopher Rausch, and you can actually see the other podcast that I did that I'll probably do again called The Unfiltered Experience. It's out there. Take these shows, take responsibility, take action on those things, and I promise you your life will change. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Go to noexcusescoach.com, noexcusescoach.com. You guys can get these beautiful bands that I keep talking about. You can check out my group accountability coaching program. It's super affordable. It's ridiculous that more people aren't in it. It blows my mind. Super affordable, super impactful. That's what I'm going to say about this. Go out there and live your life. No regrets. Live your legacy and create it. Connect with Fico. I love you guys. We'll see you next time on the Raw and Unscripted Show.